Thank you for still staying there with us. Don't forget you can still join the conversation on social media. Moneyline AIT on Twitter, Moneyline with Nancy on Facebook.
All right. Earlier we said that Nigeria is currently losing about 455 billion naira, but what is actually needed is about 95 billion naira to get us out of this situation. Doctor, why are we not taking advantage of this, the loss that we're making, the advantage of that in terms of the sum? Why is Nigeria allowing us lose so? Why is the Nigerian government allowing us lose so much when what we need is not as much as what we are losing?
Well, thank you. I think the problem is a question of priority. Because if we order our priorities right, we will get it right. And currently we are in a situation where the priority of the government is in a different direction.
Where exactly?
Different direction in the sense that if you look at it, for instance, recently the National Assembly directed or was advising the presidency that they should remove money from certain areas that are very necessary for the people just to fund elections. So you now discover that their priority is how to get them into the office rather than the people that will even get them into the office. Because it is only a healthy person that will go and stand on the line and vote for somebody. But you now discover that by hook or crook, in fact, look at the situation, for instance, where most of our legislators are given constituency allowances. And these constituency allowances are meant for things like this. Because for an ordinary Nigerian, if you can provide water, road, and light, he is off. He won't ask you for any other thing. But you discover that people collect this money because maybe it's for selfish interest. Their priority is different, not their constituency again, because they will only go back to the constituency after a period of 4 years. So the order priority is not ordered in such a way that let us make sure that our population is healthy and productive. And as far as Nigerians are concerned, what the government is losing is like everybody's property is nobody's property. Had it been it is a particular Nigerian that is losing that amount from his pocket, he will find a way of blocking that loophole. But since it is government that is losing, nobody cares.
Coming to you, Mr. Zaid, you talked about what the things that we need to do to help improve the WASH sector. What are some of the models you think Nigeria needs to adopt to ensure that we get it right, even as 2030 is it's not so far away?
It's not so far away, absolutely. As I mentioned earlier, I mean, we need to have commitment, and that was done at the federal level. Now, it's not the federal level that does the work. The work will need to be done at the state level, and states are quite independent, autonomous. They can take their own decisions, and they can use the budget they want to use. So budgetary allocations would be the first thing to do. Currently, Nigeria, the investment in the WASH sector is lower than the average of Africa. And Nigeria has the biggest economy in Africa. Based on some World Bank studies, Nigeria will need to at least triple its investment, in WASH to be able to achieve. I mean, ideally it should be 10 times more. But of course, I mean, that figure seems to be quite shocking, 10 times more. Now, budgetary allocations will not to, I mean, they need to be spent on capital investments to serve the people who are not served or who are underserved. And then it needs to be spent on sustainable work. Those systems that we put, if they are not sustained properly, we will lose them after a certain time. And when we lose them, we lose the initial investment that was made. And this is an area that needs to be paid a lot of attention to. So sustainability is key. Now, of course, the authorities, again, themselves, they cannot do it all. I mean, if we run the figures, with the population of Nigeria is close to 200 million, and with those big gaps, it translates into huge numbers of population that will need to be served. Again, there is a very underutilized resource in Nigeria, and this is the private sector. Despite the fact that the private sector in Nigeria is quite strong, is quite vibrant, for some reason it is not active in WASH. And it is usually the private sector who should be doing that. I mean, let's take an example. In Kenya, another African country, the management of the water system, in addition to the construction, but the management, the day-to-day work, is given to a private sector, and the authorities' role is to regulate only. They sign an agreement. You have to provide water 24/7. It has to be at an average of 20 liters per capita per day, 30 liters per capita per day, depending on the location, rural and urban, and it has to meet a certain quality. Simple breakdowns will have to be addressed within 2 hours, 3 hours, 1 hour, and bigger repairs will have to be addressed in, say, 1 day or 2 days, and so on and so forth. And then the authority sits back and regulates. Of course, that will need money. The people will need to contribute to that. Communities will need to pay tariffs. Tariff collection, I mean, based on this study that I referenced at the beginning, stands at 14%. 14% of the rural population only pay a tariff. Everyone thinks that water is free of charge. Well, it's free of charge under the ground, but if you want to get it to your household, it's free from contaminants, it's suitable for drinking, and it's available 24/7. No, that service costs money. When we get to this level of awareness, then things will start moving forward. But really, this needs for a campaign at all levels. Decision makers will have to be aware. They will need to put WASH at the top of their agenda. The awareness of the population will need to be increased. Private sector will need to be more involved, and collectively things could move to the front.
All right, Dr. Ayuwaja, now the issue of water for Nigeria is something that seems to be like a challenge. We've seen that even getting access to water in terms of even for agriculture, you see the issues that are happening with farmers and herdsmen and all of those kind of issues. Now, with this kind of challenge, you know, one would want to wonder or ask if it's possible, if it will be achievable, because without these waters, especially in rural areas, getting to those people, then definitely these issues that we're raising may not easily be addressed. And we're talking about a bill for national, water resources that is not even, that is still under preparation.
Well, the issue of water supply to rural areas is also a big problem, in the sense that, like my colleague said, the issue of payment or the issue of getting that water processed to the people is a big problem. And again, our leaders, or the politicians who are ruling us, will come every 4 years to make promises that water is their priority. Water is their priority, but once they get there, it is forgotten. You see, the true thing is that it is high time we stop deceiving ourselves. The true thing is that there is no free thing anywhere. Somebody somewhere is paying for it. And the earlier we take responsibility for our needs, the better for us. So like it has been said, let the government just be the regulator. Let the people have a participatory aspect of that, whatsoever that gets to them. In that event, they will value it. For instance, because we feel that water is free, if the pipeline is burst, nobody will even go and report it to the office because they feel it is government property. But it is actually our own property. But if, for instance, I am paying for it or the other village man is paying for it, once it is noticed, it is reported that we have a problem with our water supply. Can you come and fix it? Because we know whether we like it or not. At the end of a month, the bill is coming to us. And therefore, we will not like it to be wasted. So that is another problem. But when we even have it, again, with the local people, even when we have the water supply, we don't even take care of it. You may be going along the street, you just see a tap open.
Maintenance culture.
And the water is just running. Nobody cares because it is nobody's business, it is government. The hygiene aspect of it is that the people don't feel that once a pipe is burst, the water that is getting to your house is no more the water that is being pumped to your house. Yes, when it is under high pressure,